What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Multiverse Monologues, the podcast show where we look to travel across the multiverses and fandoms that we love to talk about the movies and television shows that accompany those universes. Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Marathon. We are continuing on this epic journey through the multiverses of the Marvel Movie Marathon, and this week we have the pleasure of talking about Black Panther. Yes, 2018 was a huge year for Marvel. There was many huge films out that came out in 2018. It was a big year, and this was the one to kick it off. I believe this was out in February, and I mean, if it wasn't for another Marvel movie out in 2018, this would have had the most hype, the most
Which
fanfare.
of the six?
Yeah, there was Venom. I'm forgetting Venom. Yeah, no, I'm talking about Avengers: Infinity War, obviously, but this one had so much hype around it. There was, it felt like a cultural event for everyone to be a part of because this was huge. Incorrectly touted as the first huge black superhero film in Black Panther. I mean, us on the Marvel Movie Marathon know that's definitely not true, but this was the first
Shout out Blade,
that
Wesley Snipes.
Of course. I mean, we got it right up there, but yes, this was big, and we are here to talk about it. Me, your co-host, Ben Rayside, and first and foremost, the gentleman who helped make this show possible, first off, Mr. Ethan Westloff. Ethan, how you doing?
I'm doing great, guys. We have been through so many movies on this Marvel Movie Marathon. We've been through great films. We've been through stinkers like Elektra, but thick and thin, you know. I thought some of these movies would kill me with how bad they were, but as you can see, I am not dead. I am here to talk about Black Panther. I'm excited, guys.
Ooh, okay. Good luck beating that one. Mr. Micah Head. Micah, how are you
Ben,
doing?
say one more word and I'll feed you to my children.
Okay, all right. Nice.
Just kidding, they're vegetarian. It's because they do that in the movie, like right after that.
No, that moment in the movie is hype, and we're going to talk about that and many other moments in this. And this was a long one, like 2 hours and 18 minutes, I believe it was.
Long movie. Yeah.
I did not remember that. I was kind of crunched on time when I sat down. I was trying to get it in, and then I saw the runtime, and I'm like, ooh, this is one of the longer ones. Which, I mean, after I rewatched it, I'm not complaining. I'm not gonna lie. Not to tip my hand.
It's also not the longest Black Panther
hand.
movie.
True.
Definitely not the longest one. That is definitely true. But that is a conversation for a different day. The conversation for today is centered around this film, and more presently in the moment, I've got something to say to the audience member. Just a little plug. Check out Instagram, Multiverse Monologues. I mean, you're going to get a lot of the same stuff on TikTok and on YouTube Shorts, but Instagram is also where we post up a lot of our stuff, and Ethan's got a lot of good updates on the Instagram story of things to be in the know about in the nerd world. There was a lot of good stuff up there today especially, so go check out Instagram at Multiverse Monologues. Now, gentlemen, without further ado, let's open our sling rings and head over to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You were wrong to abandon him. I chose my people. I chose Wakanda. Our future depended on...
You are wrong! All of you are wrong! To turn your backs on the rest of the world!
We let the fear of our discovery stop us from doing what is right. No more!
T'Challa returns home to the African nation of Wakanda to succeed his father as king. However, his sovereignty is challenged by an adversary who plans to abandon the country's isolationist policies and wage a global conflict. T'Challa must assemble the allies and muster the strength of Black Panther to prevent Wakanda and the world from plunging into chaos. That is your plot summary for Black Panther. Among many other things, there's a heck of a ton of things that they cram into the 2 hour, 14-minute runtime that is Black Panther. A lot of world building, a lot of good stuff. But gentlemen, I want to know what you guys thought of this movie because, you know, like we talked about in the beginning, this was huge. Did you guys go and see this at the theater? I'm going to start with Ethan first. What's your relationship with Black Panther?
Black Panther, yeah. I remember everyone like going crazy, everyone talking about this film. And yeah, I saw it in theaters and I had a really good time with it. But it wasn't really one of those movies for me at the time when I saw it that I really like thought much about, or I was like, oh, that was super fun. You know, Wakanda's a cool place and the message is pretty cool. And yeah, I enjoyed the villain, Killmonger. You know, it was all good stuff. But then upon revisiting it, and every time I rewatch it, specifically this time, I love this movie. This movie's really good. I got problems with a lot of the MCUification of it, but from like a Ryan Coogler movie, from a Chadwick Boseman movie, from a Michael B. Jordan movie, the performances of those core two guys and their writing and dialogue specifically, like that's where I really love what this movie does.
Okay. All right. Ethan's a big fan.
I am.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Micah, are you as hot on this? Or I guess a better question is, did you see this in theaters? So it was a toss-up with your films.
So this was the last movie that I didn't see in theaters. Like Infinity War was the start of, okay, I'm going to see every single movie in theaters. And Black Panther was a movie I didn't even know came out when Infinity War came out. Because I was not like super into Marvel at the time.
Man.
I know, I'm crazy. I mean, from what I remember, I don't remember this movie when it came out. I remember watching Infinity War, being like, okay, Black Panther was pretty sick in that. I remember him in Civil War. Oh, sick! They made a movie. And then it was one of those. It's part of my laundry collection, I'll call it. I watched Solo. I watched Rogue One. I watched Doctor Strange, and I watched this all while folding laundry. Different times,
and to keep the tradition going, we watched this on Tuesday, and Micah did have a bin of laundry.
I did have a bin of laundry. That's right.
Whoa.
I did do laundry during this, but that doesn't mean that I like took away from it. It just means I like doing laundry and watching movies. That means I'm like, I can focus on the movie a little more. You know, it doesn't make me go on my phone.
It's a half insult.
Yeah. It's no, not a half insult. It's like it's good. Yeah, I like this movie. The biggest thing that this reminds me of is, just right off the bat, it reminded me of, you guys ever seen the Spike Lee movie Do the Right Thing?
I have not seen that.
No,
film.
it's kind of like a community in. It reminds me of if Spike Lee made a Marvel movie. That this would be it. That's pretty cool.
To me, it reminds me of a lot of the themes from like a Lion King type.
I did get a lot of Lion King
like a
vibes.
Macbeth type story, to where like it's royalty. You have a succession of the throne. I mean, more heavy-handed, straight in your face as it's in Africa, but like there's a lot of those themes in there as well. Like I took a lot from Lion King. Oh, there's a direct inspiration here. And as far as what it takes from the comics, you can definitely tell where the inspiration was, but I think they took a lot of liberties when it came to the representation of what Wakanda was in this. They made it very updated for the MCU. And I can't say that I hate it, because the first entrance into Wakanda
Never gets old.
it never gets old. It never gets old watching it. I love it. I'm also a pretty big fan of this movie, especially this last time watching it. I will say this: it is not due to the fact that the late Chadwick Boseman has passed, although that does sweeten it a little bit, knowing what we could have gotten, because this is prime.
This is
man,
cemented as his like really only performance as T'Challa.
Oh, and he is fantastic. He is so good.
Really
Him
good.
and Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger. Those two, like you said, Ethan, are fantastic. So I also had a really good time with this. I saw this movie in theaters opening night. This was a movie that I took a lot of my buddies in high school to go see. This wasn't just a nerd movie. I actually was playing basketball at the time, and this was like everyone on the basketball team was like, dude, Black Panther, we gotta go see this movie.
Dude, back in the day when you could get a group of
How did I not know about this movie?
of just people to go see a movie, because you can't do that with the MCU now.
No.
You bring a group of people, they're like, that sucked, or what the heck was that?
Yeah,
I don't understand
we were on
that.
a good rate there. We went to Thor Ragnarok. We burned our whole family
We
with
had
that.
Thor Love and Thunder.
Thor Love and Thunder.
Yes.
Sorry, Love and Thunder.
Took a group there.
We took a group to Doctor Strange, didn't we? Multiverse of Madness. Took
Very
a group
mixed.
Big group
Yeah.
to No Way Home.
big group to No Way Home.
And then
That was a good one.
we took
How many people went to Guardians?
a few of us went to Morbius, not a lot of us.
I was out of town.
Yeah.
We took some people to Guardians, and I think the killer though was the Ant-Man.
Quantumania.
Quantumania.
I
Really,
don't like that.
I still get comments to this day about MODOK and what the heck was that? And I can't even blame him, because if you're not prepared for what MODOK is, I would have the same reaction. Like, the MODOK is not something
How
that
do
is
you adapt that? Like,
right. How does it? Hey, it is what it is. To me, I actually had a really good time with Quantumania, but we're not talking about that.
Talking
we're talking
about
about
that stupid movie,
dude. Right. We're talking about Black Panther, and this. Yeah, I bought all the tickets for every member of the basketball team. We all went out opening night. Even the coach, Coach Cora, went, and it was epic. Man,
That is cool.
It was a good time. So Black Panther, definitely a cool moment. I definitely had more people go see Infinity War. Took like multiple groups to see that. But Black Panther was epic. It was February. It was cold. But man, was it a good time. So I'm also a big fan. Had a good time rewatching it this time. How do we feel, though? Because I know I talked about Chadwick, but how do we feel about his performances? Because I was listening to a lot of comments, criticism. I had a lot of time, actually. On my way to work today, on my way back, I was listening to a lot of the chatter in 2018 when this movie premiered about Chadwick's performance in 2018. This is not now. This is 2023. This is 5 years ago. How do you guys feel about his
I
performance?
think where this movie is strongest, like the drama acting doesn't really, nothing from me really stands out, but the fighting, the action really stands out in this as being stellar. And you can see,
That's
I mean, he goes on to direct the Creed movies. Or did Creed 1 come before this?
Creed 1 did come before.
Yeah,
this.
yeah. So he's already got experience in that realm. And then you throw that kind of budget to a Marvel movie. It's awesome.
That's funny you say that, because to me, like, I appreciate the opposite of this.
Really?
I like the drama. I like the dialogue, the exchanges of just conversation, and the action kind of is like, okay, some of it's really cool. Some of it is really not fun to look at, or I don't, especially
like competition. I'm talking about the most.
Oh, I agree. That stuff, the fight to be king,
Yeah.
that is really good. I like that a lot.
I love to go off of that. I love the themes of this movie. How you have two ways of looking at helping your people, right? So you have this peaceful, supporting what you have of T'Challa, and then you've got Killmonger, who wants to arm everybody. He wants to create war against everybody and just dominate the world. And I love how it proposes that. And it's just a great, like, what if?
Right.
Kind of the question, what if?
There is, so part of me really likes the action, and then there are some certain choreographed scenes, especially near the end of the film, that really get on my nerves. But I'm also in the camp of the dialogue, the world building, the conversations. This does not feel, even though there are hints at, a regular Marvel movie. There are those
There's one
MCU
line.
humors. There's definitely one. I
There's
know what you're
one
talking
line.
about.
Say it, Micah. Say the line.
I should have had that as my intro line.
Yeah. Should have been wearing like some shoes. You could have called them out.
No, that's even in the theater in
Really dates this
2018, man.
movie.
Like, but even then, dude, I watched it and I'm like,
You're like,
ooh,
ooh, that's like a last year joke.
that's not good.
Yeah,
we're
it's
talking
crazy,
about
though, 'cause
the
it-
what are those joke.
The
for
What Are
of
Those
you
joke
listening.
was popular mid to late 2018. I'm surprised it made it into the cut. Like, how did it make it into a movie that quick?
You're saying 2017.
Yeah.
2017.
Yes.
What movie did
Because
what
this
year?
was, this was
This is
2018.
2018.
Back
This
it up
is
a
a
year.
time
That's
travel
what I meant.
movie. This
I would
movie
even-
started it.
I would even say maybe even before that.
It was on its way out for sure.
But even then, it was not like a very. It was just a meme. The
like,
video
oh,
was funny.
okay.
No one went around saying that. It feels very
I don't
weird.
know where Ben was. My people were saying all the time.
I guess the crowd that I hung around
it's one of
with
those
didn't,
things
but, like,
that like just cements the film in time.
Oh yeah.
And
Yes.
we get a few of those in Endgame too, like specifically like Fortnite and other things.
I mean,
Although-
Fortnite's still going.
Although the Fortnite thing is pretty cool if you keep up with what's going on right now.
we'll be able to talk about that someday.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
yes,
actually, yeah.
I loved how you were bringing up Killmonger, and Micah was talking about his motivation as a villain, and I think it was his first big scene when he goes in the museum and he's like,
I love that scene.
"You stole this,"
Yeah.
right? And it's just immediately it's one of those movies where you're like, "Wow, this villain." And this movie always gets praised for having a good villain, but just seeing it again, you really are like, he just is coming from such a real place where this dude's just a kid living. The King T'Chaka comes in, kills his dad, leaves him dead, and then he knows about all this resource that Wakanda has and isn't using, right? And it's that dilemma, like, when you have stuff to help people, do you use that to help people, or do you protect your own nation, your own safety, and keep that to yourself and not bring it out? And ultimately, like, what's so cool about this movie is Killmonger is very much right in this movie, and by the end of that, he is.
Like T'Challa and Killmonger both have reasons to be right.
His approach is wrong,
That's the problem.
but what he wants to do is very much right. Because he wants to arm the suppressed people and get them to fight back. But
Also,
yeah,
go
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
His goal is to rise up and then take over. Wakanda can lead the whole world as, being the source and center of power. And that's to me, that's where it kind of got. I understand giving people the resources to stand up. I understand like helping out where it's definitely needed, but to propel Wakanda to the nation of power, I think that his goal there is absolutely wrong. And what, like, T'Challa takes his goal, he takes the best parts of Killmonger's goal and makes it a reality, obviously, in a very oddly placed end credit scene. But I think parts of what Killmonger wants to do is correct. It's just specifically the way he wants to do it is very wrong. But I can see, and that's what this movie does so well, I can see how that character, due to what he has been through, has gotten to that point.
Mentally and wanting that. Yeah.
100%. It makes total sense. And that's where you buy into it. You don't have to relate to his problems, but if you can understand where he's coming from, listen, coming from a guy, and I know you guys agree with this, who has seen 47 other Marvel films, very few villains have come this close or have made us understand them as well as Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger.
They don't often reach this level.
No, it doesn't. It absolutely doesn't. And so when you see it, even though like this might not be one of the best villains of all time, but when it comes to this marathon, when we review this stuff, he is so fantastic, and it's so refreshing to not just care about the hero, but to also understand and care for and feel, like literally feel emotion during that end scene between the two of them. It's so refreshing, and it really elevates this film.
He's also like, he's just smart. He's so calculated. And when he walks into Wakanda, he knows exactly what his plan's going to be. He knows exactly how to get in. He's done his research. He's ready to take that throne. Like I think I said it before, me and Michael watched it together. I said it before he says it in the movie, but the hey auntie, that line, I'm always like, oh, that I just love that.
I love how long it takes for them to give him a proper like introduction, like exposition dump. So it takes a while. You get the museum scene. You get a couple scenes in between there. You go to Wakanda. You do all this stuff, and then Everett Ross gives us the rundown. He says Eric Stevens graduated Annapolis, age 19, MIT for grad school, joined the SEALs, and went straight to Afghanistan, where he wrapped up confirmed kills like it was a video game. Started calling him Killmonger.
See that?
He joined a JSOC ghost unit. Now these guys are serious. They would drop off the grid so they could commit assassinations and take down governments. He was born and raised. He was born in it, molded by it. His motives are rooted in his whole life story. That's what's cool about this character.
See, and that's part of my problem, because it feels like an MCU film when you get a lot of the Claw stuff. Like they have to. Why not just make the whole movie about T'Challa and Killmonger? Why does
Claws are linked?
Why did I understand that? I understand that. I understand the story, how you have to link it into whatever. But I feel like there is a better story with Claw not involved in the story at all.
I like the inclusion of Claw.
I like
and
Claw
how
too.
he's just this guy that Killmonger uses when he needs to use him, and then
Another
when he's
rung
done,
on
like
the ladder.
even Micah said, he's like, "Oh, they shot him? I forgot that they killed him right here." Because he's been a character since Age of Ultron. He was in that movie. He was the first character really to introduce what Wakanda was in the universe. So it makes sense to have him in this movie because we've seen him dealing vibranium. Like he's the biggest dealer of vibranium up till that point.
Yeah, and that's Killmonger's.
Absolutely.
That's Killmonger's ticket in. If not for the death of Claw, he probably would have been stuck at the gate.
Absolutely, I totally understand, but because Killmonger is so effective and so good, to have him sidelined for a good 45 minutes at the beginning of this movie is like, oh man, I just want more. That's what I'm saying. I'm not counting it against this movie at all. I just, man, what would I like to see more of in this movie? And I don't get enough of Killmonger. And boy, spoiler alert, we don't ever get enough of him. You know, like his time is cut short. Imagine a film in which he doesn't die at the end. I would say that's what makes the end of this very nice and bittersweet.
See the most beautiful sunset.
The King's Sunset. Yeah. But part of my, I just wish I want more. I want more of him.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
He's one of those villains where you're like, I could have got more of this guy. Like the Loki. Like it would have been a shame if they did kill Loki after that first Thor film, because Loki's still kicking it. But this guy, he definitely had juice. There's more juice to do with him, or more gas in the tank.
There's a reason they brought him back for Wakanda Forever. He's a fan favorite for sure.
And he did get a whole What If episode with Infinity Stones.
Really good.
That is true. Did Michael B. Jordan voice him in that?
Yeah,
I think he
so.
did. I think he did.
They
I
got
think
most of the voice actors back.
Yeah.
At least a lot of them.
Except for Tom Holland for some
A lot of
reason. That was interesting. Yeah. So how do we feel about the rest of it, specifically the nation of Wakanda, how it's presented, Shuri, Queen?
The politics
Ramonda.
are pretty cool. I like how they're discussing things, and Ethan even pointed out while we were watching, he was like, "I love these politics, man. This is cool." There's definitely an awareness of there's a council here, and each of them have some sort of background in their government that is contributed. I love the world building. It's great.
And I love the whole aspect of how the nation is split, because who are you loyal to? You know, are you loyal to Killmonger, who rightfully, technically got the throne for a little bit?
Yeah, the Dora the Explorers. What's their called? Dora
Milaje.
Dora Milaje.
Yeah. And then you got Chadwick playing Black Panther, who, you know, is on this other side. And you got to kind of get a little civil war in Wakanda. But it's funny. The end of this movie, I'm always trying to remember, now, does that scene happen in this movie, or is that at the end of Infinity War? Because the end battles are very similar in a lot of ways.
You know who I forgot was in this movie? Daniel Kaluuya. What, dude? What?
I forgot.
He's Denai
Any of these
Guerrero's
characters are
husband in this movie. Yeah.
And then it made me think. I'm like, what? So where was he in Wakanda Forever? Like,
Where was
what
the
happened to him, man?
He
in
is
that
in Wakanda
final
forever.
battle?
Is he though?
He's like banished, kind of.
Oh, but we don't see him.
We do see him. I
Really?
think he's in a scene. Yeah.
Oh man, I must have missed him somehow.
Look it up.
Why didn't
I'll look it up. Well, Micah,
in that final battle?
pull that up.
Oh, okay.
but he was great in the movie. I like the Civil War, and I tell you why the politics are refreshing, man. Because it's one, we don't get it very often, but politics make the world feel real, and it's something that, I mean, most of the Marvel films take place in the real world, so you don't need that. But in Wakanda, a fictional nation, so it just makes it feel very, dude. Also, all right, what was the deal with the dude with the huge like ring mouth? Dude, every time I see, that's a thing apparently.
Yeah, it is.
Dude, every time I see that, it's always very jarring, yet very cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Just had to point that out.
I don't know what the
watch
culture behind it is, but yeah, that's a thing that happens.
It was very epic. I'll say that.
We should have done more research, guys.
Wow.
I guess we should have.
But so how do we feel about the introduction of this new world versus when we got introduced to Asgard in the first Thor movie? What are like the benefits of both, the negatives of both? Like, how do we feel about Wakanda versus Asgard?
I think Wakanda feels a lot more fleshed out.
I was going to say the other way. I like how we have a lot more to go off of from other movies too, with Wakanda. But for right now, with just this one movie, I think that Asgard, with its 5 movies that we visited there now, we have a bunch of characters that are more fleshed out. We've got rooms, castles, kingdoms, and I like Asgard more than Wakanda.
Oh, I do too. I'm not saying that, but like
the building
with
of
Heimdall and his whole
Asgard is definitely more magical and fun, but I don't know, how do we feel about all the tech in Wakanda?
It's cool. I think they could have used it even more. They could have leaned into it more.
I agree. I agree with that.
Because like they have like this unlimited future tech, but they still have stationary trains.
Well, the trains are pretty advanced. I'll say that.
They are. I mean, the transit system.
Like, it's like you have a shield of vibranium, and then it's like there's just everywhere. Right. So the preciousness that is, you don't feel the preciousness
Remember the magic
of vibranium.
of Cap's shield early on? That was so cool. Like he's like, oh yeah, or Howard Stark's like, this is the rarest metal on Earth, and you're like, wow, Cap's shield is so special. And then you do with the, it's kind of like we've seen it as the MCU gets more and more fleshed out, how a lot of the early magical things kind of lose their magic. Like Mjolnir, we see loses its magic, and the shield loses magic. Even like Tony's arc reactor and his suit loses its magic. And that's part of like when we first saw these movies, how young we were. We kind of aged up too. But like nothing, I don't know what like currently could be introduced that will feel like have that level of like magnitude that the Thor's Mjolnir has or Cap's shield had back in the day.
I do like the magic of the inside joke that we get to be on as knowing about Wakanda.
Yeah.
And going through this movie, and there's people from outside Wakanda, and they're like, you stole all of Wakanda's vibranium.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Wakanda's just a land full of gardeners.
Yeah.
That's so, I love those jokes. Every time someone, like some outsiders, just like dogging on Wakanda for being this third world nation, and then Claw's like, you have no idea what Wakanda is.
Yeah. I also want to shout out, I try and tack it on after every Marvel film, but I want to give it its due, because the soundtrack and score for Black Panther is one of the best that we have had, not just in the MCU, but in the Marvel movie marathon. This is fantastic. The soundtrack was headed by Kendrick Lamar, and The Weeknd has some fabulous songs. All the Stars and Pray For Me are 2 absolute bangers, among others. But Ludwig Göransson does not make his debut, but this has certainly put him on the map after his big debut in Creed. But Ludwig Göransson's score is absolutely fantastic, and the African vocalist, who I don't know the name of, is amazing. Like when you're going into Wakanda, I'm not gonna do it for you because there's no way I could.
Sing it, Ben.
But
do it.
The way that they bring it in, it's more than just the instruments. but it literally is iconic. There is a scene from Infinity War that I know is not going to get talked about, so I'm going to talk about it here. But the music is so iconic that when you transition into Wakanda, they play the drum beat that this music makes so good. And you immediately know where you're going because this movie made it so iconic. Did this movie not win an award for its soundtrack or score? I think it was nominated at least. I know this was nominated.
It was nominated for costume design and
Best original score. It won. It won costume design, score, and production design. It
won the
was
score. There
nominated
you go.
for Best Picture, Original Song, Sound Mixing, and Sound Editing.
It won original score and very deserved. Ludwig Göransson did a fantastic job.
Same with the costumes. The costumes are really, really cool.
Yeah, especially Killmonger's mask.
Yeah, Killmonger's
That was so
mask.
cool. Ethan, in the middle of it, he saw that Michael B. Jordan was picking up the mask, and he was like, "I dig this," or whatever he said. Then he put it on.
I was like, I wonder if his comic book counterpart looks
feeling
similar to
this,
that.
Yeah.
And he does.
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very
So
similar.
That's very
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Heavily inspired by it.
And then like M'Baku, his costume.
Dude.
Really cool. He's got a great look.
M'Baku.
His introduction coming out of the waterfall.
Yes.
Dude, it's so good.
It's a good scene.
I say we will not have it. I say we will not have it. Oh, the presence that he brings as he comes out.
When we were talking about Asgard, you had mentioned how the characters of Asgard feel more fleshed out. I completely disagree. Like every character in this movie just feels like, oh, they got a story, and not only do they have a story, but on screen they're way cooler than these. Like even the Warriors 3, like they have some cool.
They had more
scenes.
said about them, but I don't care about them as much as the Black Panther people.
Right, like you get
like they throw a bunch of stuff at us, but it doesn't mean much.
Okoye,
Black Panther's
Guerrera,
good,
M'Baku, Nakia. You know, you get all these cool characters, and I love like the world that it builds, and even like rewatching this, I'm like, man, I'm gonna rewatch Black Panther 2. Just for fun.
Yeah.
Because I like the world, and a lot of the moves that they have to make in that movie are really impressive after rewatching this. Like Letitia Wright, her sister, what's her name in this movie? Shuri. Yeah, like I kind of like don't like her in this movie, and I'm actually really impressed with still what they're able to do with her.
Yeah, I forgot how
Forever.
kind of young she feels in this movie and how mature she feels in Wakanda Forever.
Well, I agree with Ethan. I like how fat, like she literally has to fast track her maturity.
Yeah,
because she can't be a kid anymore. You know, the way that they played that is really good.
I love the relationship between Okoye and Daniel Kaluuya's character.
Yes,
and I in the final battle, I love how that's the reason why they stop, is because this husband and wife. Would you really kill me? I wouldn't hesitate a minute or whatever. I wouldn't stop. I wouldn't. You know,
For Wakanda,
no question.
no question.
There you go,
dude.
And I love
So good.
It's not a true oneer, but the one take when
in the
they're
casino
in the
thing?
casino, and Denai Guerrera Okoye is going crazy with the staff. Like this movie did good with the female characters, I think.
Yes.
Especially her. She is a really good character.
Did a great job of balancing, like having really strong male characters and really strong female characters at the same time, having emotional beats with both. It's just like everybody gets a great beat in this movie.
Yes, I agree. One of the things I will say that this film is not perfect, though. I will say this.
Yeah.
We have been singing its praises, and it's well worth it. But there are a few things in this film that I'm not the biggest fan of.
The What Are Those joke takes off a good 2.5 points for me.
Oh, phew, more than that. No, the relationship between T'Challa and Nakia, I believe is her name.
Nakia, yeah.
Not that great at all. I do not care at all about
didn't
their
feel it.
relationship.
You froze. Yeah.
I never freeze. As far as MCU relationships go, this is definitely not one of the strongest. And honestly, the MCU has not been that great at relationships, unfortunately.
We were betting when you'd say something.
What?
When you'd just do anything in the accent.
That's how he says it. I'm surprised you didn't give it to him when I said the M'Baku line.
I was given like a 3-strike system.
Okay, all right.
They're waiting. Yeah.
I don't know. Am I wrong though? Is their relationship anything?
No,
I don't care about
I
it.
feel like they say that there's a relationship, but it's not really shown.
Right, yeah.
The only thing that we really have is when they're walking downtown Wakanda. I would love more downtown Wakanda stuff, more everyday life Wakanda, more citizen stuff, but they just don't have time. They got to build up this character before Infinity War. They don't have time to sit in the world of Wakanda and just like talk about the people.
Yeah.
And this is more focused on the political climate and taking down Killmonger so that they can have this, so that T'Challa can be king again. And that's it. That's all it is.
Another negative, I think, is
That's gotta be.
the action. We kind of talked about it at the beginning, specifically the final fight. The CGI is really rough.
Oh, we noted something
Oh,
super
yeah.
cool with Black
There was
Panther.
a big callback on the train rail.
Iconic callback.
I don't remember. I don't know if you remember a certain excellent shot in X-Men
Wolverine, he does this claw spin
on
around
the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
And in this one, T'Challa does a nice claw grab around.
Exact same shot.
It's the same
Come
shot.
on, hold on.
I think they used the same CGI too.
Now the real question is, no, that's what I'm saying. Which one looks better? Because honestly,
Hugh Jackman, come on.
dude, come on. Them falling down.
All right,
looks
favorite character of this movie, Hugh Jackman.
horrible. Dude, it looks horrible.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry.
when they're fighting by the train, and it's very much the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul stare down as the train's between them going. I'm like, okay, this isn't doing it for me. I'm just waiting for
Yeah, I can see what they're trying to do, but it's not.
I'm waiting for the dialogue exchange that is about to happen after Killmonger's defeated. That's what I'm waiting for in this movie.
My favorite things in this movie are the things shown, not just told. I love how we see the two different Black Panther dreams. We see
Yes.
T'Challa's, where he goes to the ancestral realm that's
Ancestral plane.
the ancestral plane that's
Yeah.
in like a field with some trees, and there's his father there. And then we see Killmonger's. His ancestral plane is in that apartment building where his dad died, where he grew up,
yeah.
where there were all these things that his dad said he couldn't see because they were secrets. They weren't ready for him. He wasn't. Don't go through my things yet. What'd you find? Things like that. I love seeing things like that.
Mhm.
And it's not just Killmonger saying a big paragraph about how, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that because of this. And they do have part of that, but it's earned because they show it to us first.
Mhm.
Yeah, the ancestral plane moments are really cool,
Love it.
especially both of Chadwick's.
I love Killmonger's way he goes about trying to destroy the future of the Black Panther. I love how he just goes in there. He's aggressive. He does exactly what he's trained to do. He takes over the throne. He destroys all the heart-shaped plants. Then he kills them. Whoa, that's crazy.
He like I said, he was so
The
calculated. and
brutality
the way he
of that
he just
challenge.
walks in there, and that shot, the first shot of him sitting on the throne as it starts upside down, and it does the slow spin, and the music is going, and he sits on the throne, and because if it wasn't Black Panther's first movie, and you like actually believed the fake out death, you'd be like, holy cow, this is crazy. But it's an origin story for a hero that. I do wonder, like, when they do fake out deaths, like, who are they for? Especially in, like, a movie like this.
He's the main character.
Right.
Not for a moment did I think that he was dead.
No.
I was surprised at the move when it happened. I'm like, oh, shoot, they're really going to do that. And
I
bring
almost
him
didn't
back?
think Claw died because they didn't show it. Like, they didn't show his dead body at first, but then they opened up the bag and he was dead.
How about
I really
Alive?
just wanted to see more Claw.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, he was quoting the.
He's fine.
I like them.
I love
I
Andy
like a B
Serkis.
villain.
Andy Serkis is awesome.
He is.
Yeah.
He just did.
To me, I really liked him in this movie. I know you don't, Ben.
He's so eccentric.
He is a lot.
Too much.
With his
He does
like
too
mixtape
much.
thing and his.
I'm sorry. Like, come on, what is it? I'll send you the SoundCloud mix. I'm like, all right, Andy Serkis, come on.
No,
I just don't believe
like
him, knowing what he has done in the past and what kind of person he is. He fits much more of an Alfred to me than a, like.
I
don't
liked
know.
his line with Ross where he says, "Oh, you think I brought all these people for you? No, I can make a deal with you on my own." Because he knew. I like how smart he's portrayed.
Yeah, it's definitely definitely he's going for something.
Yeah.
I just don't. It does nothing for me.
He's looking for one way out, if you will.
Oh, yeah. See, like that. That's where he shines as a serious, dramatic character. I feel. But
I think he shines everywhere. I like him in this.
yeah,
We can agree to
he
disagree,
doesn't.
Ben.
He definitely doesn't take points off for me. I don't care for him. Kind of like how I don't care for Daniel Kaluuya. He does nothing for me in this movie either.
thought you
even
said
though-
If we
you
didn't
liked
have Claw, we wouldn't have
No,
that
I do,
sick
but
chase
it's-
scene. And
he's fine. Like as much as I like Claw, I like Daniel Kaluuya. Like they're both in the movie, they're doing stuff, but they don't.
cool
they're just
things
kind
happen
of
around
here.
them.
They're just kind of here.
Yeah.
And I
about,
think that Daniel Kaluuya.
What do we think? Go ahead.
I think his motivation for turning on Wakanda for him is very weak.
He's loyal to the throne.
It felt like whatever his name, Billy Butcher from Ragnarok. How he
Yeah,
just joined
Billy Butcher
Yeah.
from Ragnarok.
The executioner.
Scourge,
Taserface, whatever his name is.
the boys in Thor. No, sorry, Ethan. You were gonna say something.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what I was gonna say.
Oh,
I was gonna. You were talking about Daniel Kaluuya.
and how I didn't. Him and Andy Serkis are just kind of there for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it left me. It's
Yeah.
gone.
I like the tech that's used in this. How there's the buildup of the car. How there's like this vibranium cockpit that they have in Wakanda that they can use to remote things, and how Shuri uses at the beginning, and then we have Ross coming in clutch at the end with his plane remote,
Yeah.
and how brave he is.
Everett Ross, we kind of glossed over him. He's in a big portion of the film.
I really like Ross in this movie.
I mean, it's Martin Freeman,
Does
all
he
right?
need to be in the movie though?
I like.
Does he need to be?
I was
there?
reading the trivia, and Andy Serkis and Martin Freeman called themselves the Tolkien white guys because they were both in The Hobbit.
And they both have a scene in The Hobbit too.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
That is good stuff. I like that a lot. Gentlemen, is there anything else you want to say before we get into favorite scene, favorite
Why did it
character
take
ranking?
almost 50 movies to get a black-led Marvel movie?
Apart from Blade.
No, 50 movies. I mean, besides like Blade 3, it was Blade was their second movie. Blade 3 was like our what, 8th?
Wait,
You
hold
mean
on,
like
hold
why?
on,
So
hold on.
the gap between Blade
Yeah,
and
it took
this.
so
Yes.
long.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
And there's definitely not a shortage of. I mean, we have Into the Spider-Verse. We've got.
It's just now
Captain
like they're just
Falcon.
now
We've
starting
got-
to get more representation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
you
that's a big criticism of it for
you
sure.
also have to take into account that Falcon and
Rhodey.
Miles were characters created not
Later.
too long ago.
Yeah.
Like it's only been about 10, 15 years since
Falcon
they were even
as
created.
Cap, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
so it's-
even with like Miss Marvel, she was 2015 or something, right?
right. So why did it take so long? I would point to comics first before you point at films.
Comics
For
and the
that-
consumers and the creators.
Yes. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, good point. Yeah. Definitely missing out on some pretty darn good television here.
Sorry, yeah, you definitely like feel like the culture infused in these projects, especially with the first two Black Panthers and the first two Spider-Verses. Like you feel like
Yeah.
these are just like they're made very well.
Oh, yeah.
Ryan Coogler, I've got a lot of respect for as a filmmaker.
I need to watch more of his movies.
He has a very impressive, but I'm a huge fan of both Creed film. Actually, the third one kind of fell off a little bit, but the first two Creed films
I haven't
are
seen it. No.
very good.
I've seen the
Very
first
good
one.
films. So I'm a big fan of his work, and a lot of the creative team on this whole thing is very good. So there was a lot of good things in this movie. And speaking-
Not a very offensive movie to watch. I liked it. Like offensive rating wise.
No, so and I like. Let's bring up offensive here because there was like there was a whole thing when this movie came out that it was like, if you said anything bad about it, especially if you were white, like you're a racist. And
I heard a woke conda forever going around a little bit. Yeah.
I mean, it made it to a point where it was like almost horrible to critique any part of this movie. And it has flaws. It's not a perfect film. Infinity War has flaws. Does Infinity War have flaws?
You make fun of this film, you're racist.
That's how it, come on. That's how it felt, though.
Every movie has
so after
flaws.
you got out, it was like, I liked the movie, but it was like, yeah, this isn't a 10 out of 10 for sure. Like, no, there's some stuff I don't like in this movie, you know?
This is our, I believe, first Best Picture nomination. First and only Best Picture nomination. Do you guys think that there were any movies before this that could have gotten close?
Probably not. No.
No.
I don't like any of the other films, no.
No.
Like critically.
Well, you got to think everything that goes, like the costume design and the score and just the performances from both our main hero and main villain. Like a lot of it really like comes together, and not that other movies don't have that. It's just this feels very like this feels made to be an award film.
Yeah.
More so than like a Civil War does.
Does it deserve it though?
I think so. The ones that wins. Yeah. Score and costume design. 100%.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Best Picture nomination. Okay. No, yeah. I can definitely get behind that. It's just,
well, it didn't win Best Picture, did it?
Why
nominated?
But
Yeah.
it was nominated, and it's the first one to get nominated.
And only.
Still?
Mm-hmm.
You got Isn't Spider-Verse the first
That's
one?
Best Animated Feature.
Animated feature. It won that. And Big Hero 6 won Best Animated as well.
Ah, dang, man.
Now in the year where Infinity War comes out, where this is nominated as opposed to Infinity War,
Right.
that is like it's very much like Infinity War is hugely impressive with all the pieces that come together and the story they're able to tell. But I can see why this got nominated.
You know what else this was a first, or I guess not really a first, but it was the 33rd $billion box office movie.
1.3, right?
1.3.
Yeah.
1.3, yeah.
Made a lot of freaking money.
Tons of dough.
What was the budget?
200 mil.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah. It
made its money
It
back.
made cash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's do favorite character. Out of the many in Black Panther, a lot of new characters, a lot of returning characters. Micah.
Now, call me racist, but I'm picking Ross.
You're what?
Dude, I loved Ross in this movie. I loved how he sets up Killmonger. I love how I love the interview with Claw. I love the come on, guys. Come on, guys.
It's just like he's not
Guys.
he's not who I would pick at all.
No.
Go
Either
ahead.
him or M'Baku. And I mean, I loved both.
No. Go with Ross. Go with
Say
Ross.
what you want to say,
Yes.
Micah.
I want to leave the good characters for you guys.
Well, there are plenty of good characters,
I
Micah.
know.
No, don't shy away from the fact that you're picking Ross because you genuinely believe
Because I love Martin Freeman.
Yes.
You're
Okay.
a racist.
Ah, no,
You're
I'm
a
not.
racist. Micah Hat's a racist. That's what it is.
You heard it here first, folks.
I love his emotion, like his facial expressions whenever, like when M'Baku basically just tells him to shut up.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
That is good stuff.
It's so funny.
No, he's a good character, but I'm in Ethan's camp here. There's a lot better characters. And Ethan, give us one.
Okay,
better character.
so I was gonna take.
And how he saves the day at the end.
Okay.
Ooh, okay.
You know, a little bit of white savior in there, just to top it off.
So I didn't think Mike. I was gonna take Okoye.
You are racist.
I was gonna take
Because you
Okoye.
love Walking Dead.
Right, because I love Denai Guerrera and I think she's really good in this movie. But I didn't anticipate Micah dropping the ball this bad in the favorite
Wow.
in the favorite character.
At least I didn't
category.
rate Punisher an 8.
So right. You didn't rate Thomas Jane Punisher an 8. So go listen to that podcast and watch that movie if you want to waste a couple hours of your life. I'm gonna take Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger.
Okay.
I think up till this point we've had like, I think I can count the amount of great villains on one hand in the Marvel movie marathon that we've had.
yeah.
And I definitely put Killmonger as one of those. As we were saying, he's not fully like right in his plan, but you fully see where he's coming from. You fully sympathize with him. You fully understand why he's doing what he's doing, and his motivation is there, and his plan of attack is so solid when he enters into Wakanda. He knows he needs to work with Claw because he knows he needs to kill Claw to get into Wakanda. Right when he gets into Wakanda, he knows exactly what to do and how to sit on the throne, and he gets on the throne, and it's all really good. The dialogue is great between Chadwick and Michael B. Jordan, and just it's like, it's better to die than to live in bondage. You know, his final scene, and because I caught it this scene, but when he's in the ancestral plane and he's talking to his dad's like, the sunsets in Wakanda are beautiful. I hope you get to see one day, and it's the final thing he sees in his life.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for not dropping the ball, Ethan.
I try not
That was
to.
awesome. That was a good one. I'm gonna go with that one white guy who was fighting. Yeah. Bucky at the end of this movie.
Good pick. I would have picked him too. I saved him for you.
Oh no, it's a good. Hold on, I want to.
2 leftless white dudes in this movie. Isn't that crazy?
Oh,
Great.
there you go.
Mike is one of them.
I am definitely gonna go with Black Panther, T'Challa, for sure. Out of the many, if T'Challa wasn't picked,
The
I would go
3 main
with,
characters.
I would go with
Ross, T'Challa, in that order.
M'Baku was another really great character.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, big shout out on M'Baku. I love his performance.
Dude, T'Challa, he got a little bit of a criticism because of how serious and not charismatic he was, and I think that's a lot of people too used to the MCU formula.
Yeah, not many like MCU jokes in this.
Yes, and for the benefit of
When
this
Letitia
movie.
Wright walks
Especially
in,
in contrast with Ragnarok.
you get the
Yes.
MCU humor when Shuri's on screen, but
Yes, but I think T'Challa, the gravitas that Chadwick Boseman brings to the performance is absolutely needed for someone who's going to sit on the throne, and his like seriousness, the way he's able to hold a scene and carry it,
right.
makes his scenes with Killmonger, who can also hold a scene and carry it, that much better.
Right.
The throne sequence between the both of them, it's he's like, no, take him away. I don't want him to speak here because I know what his whole thing is. Get him out of here. No. And he's like, every breath you take is mercy from me when he's talking to Claw. Like, dude, that's a sick line. Are you kidding me? And it just is all the more bittersweet that we can't get more of that, and we can't have him just be alive.
Yeah. And he was you got to talk about how he was struggling with cancer through the making of this film, and he kept it on lock because he
Through his entire time playing Black Panther.
Yeah, he knew
we talked about that in Civil War.
Yeah,
like
he
his
knew the importance
diagnosis
of
right
this.
after.
Yeah. So props to him for wanting. He just knew like, this is an opportunity to do this and to play this character, and he does it. And the MCU had plans for him going forward. They had said that he was the new leader of the Avengers in the next phase, which really, it sucks. It's never cool when someone passes, and especially not for like whatever, building a stupid cinematic universe. But yeah, Chadwick, great pick.
There are more important things for sure. Favorite scene, Micah.
Oh, I didn't think you'd ask this question.
I got mine.
This movie.
You want me to roll into mine?
Yeah, go for it, man.
My favorite scene is the second time T'Challa goes to the ancestral plane after having the knowledge of what happened with Killmonger. And he's talking to his dad, and he's like, "You were wrong." That
All of you were wrong.
yes,
Yeah.
I just love like what that scene represents and how kind of we're not shying away. Us three up here are Christians, and we very much believe in inherent sin, that the sin from ancestors falls down onto us. But that doesn't mean that we have to live with that. We can become something different. We can make a new path for ourselves. Yeah, as Anakin says in Kenobi, I am what you made me. Right? We don't have to be what our parents make us.
Or like what Ahsoka.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So you can change your legacy.
Yep.
You can change your past, right? Yeah. So I love his performance, first of all, in that scene, and telling off his dad post death, that's really cool. And then what it means, like, just from like a viewer standpoint, I really like what that does.
That's a great pick. Micah, you said you had it.
Yeah, I love the challenge between T'Challa and Killmonger.
Yes,
when
good.
they're on the waterfall place. I love just the brutality of. You can see T'Challa pulling his punches because he doesn't want to kill. He's hoping he can pull a give up. Like, come on, help me out
Like
here.
he beats M'Baku earlier.
Yeah. We saw with M'Baku, he would rather someone live than someone die. He would rather there be another strong leader in the world than someone to die for no reason other than a challenge. And when Killmonger is the one that just very quickly overtakes the entire battle, it's gruesome how he's just, he gets stabbed, he gets beaten up, and then what's his name? Forrest Whitaker's character, Zuri, when he stops him and he says, and the audience, everyone is like, you're not allowed to do this. This is our tradition. I love the roots of tradition in this movie as well. I didn't talk about it that much, but the fight between tradition and futurism and like progression, it's a huge struggle, and that's a theme with everything. But I love that about this movie, and how Zuri admits there that it was he who killed the father.
Right. And for a character where, especially when he's got his vibranium suit on, really like nothing really poses a threat to this guy. He can be shot at, he can be blown up. He just absorbs the power and boom,
take away the suit.
Right. So you take away the suit, you take away his Black Panther power, which, has to really affect you physically if you have all this strength that's ripped from you and then you immediately have to jump into a fight. Yeah. That's crazy. So I love having the weight of punches, and you don't get that a lot of the time where like you feel every punch that Killmonger hits him with.
Yeah, and just the heartlessness as he picks him up and throws him off the edge at the end, and the blood curdling scream from what's her name, the Queen, Ramonda.
Yeah,
love that scene.
That's a pretty good one, man.
Close second is when Ross saves the day.
Nice. There is a trope in movies that I don't think I ever get tired of, and it's when a character who you don't know absolutely understands the language of the natives. It happens in Braveheart. I'm thinking of a specific scene between him and the princess, where he finds out that he speaks Latin, and there is a scene in this film where Killmonger absolutely goes off. Black Panther is T'Challa is trying to calm the situation down before it gets out of hand, take him away, and before they can do it, he starts shouting out in Wakandan his heritage, where he's from, that he is in fact an heir to the throne, and everyone's like, holy crap, and the music is insane, and then it changes the whole ball game from the movie. And I think it's at that point in the film that it goes from being a pretty solid MCU film to a great movie, period. And from then on, oh man, it's a pretty good movie, and it's where I get super invested in a story in that moment. And that's without a doubt my favorite scene in this movie. With that being said, gentlemen, it's now time to score Black Panther, though. A few negatives that we've had, but overall very positive.
Yes.
Where is this going to rank on the MCU list that not the MCU list, the Marvel movie marathon list that we've created thus far, with this as being our 48th film.
Now, the internet is very hot on this movie. I'm sure you guys know. This is a Rotten Tomatoes critic, 96%. Audience, 79, though. Metacritic, 88. Metacritic user, 6.3 out of 10.
Wow.
IMDb, 7.3 out of 10. Letterboxd, 3.7 out of 5. Averaging out to a 7.8 out of 10 for too much water. That's crazy, guys. There's movies like that where the critics will have like a significantly higher, but you can tell it wasn't review bombed on the user end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like especially with how high a lot of Thor: Love and Thunder's scores were last week. It's interesting to see where the score for this lies.
Ragnarok.
Yes, not Love and Thunder.
Yeah. So
Never high for love.
Black
of Thunder.
Panther ranks 19th place according to the internet, with
19.
Homecoming being just below it and Far From Home just above it.
Huh? Wow.
19.
Where
is
does the
7.8.
Hollywood Reporter rank it? So this is the infamous list.
This is
way high.
their number one film, is it not?
Is it?
I don't know.
What do you
I
think?
think I remember.
No, their number one was Avengers, I think. The
I'm
first
locking it in.
Avengers
Number
film.
one. They put this. I think I remember that.
No, I know it's high though.
Avengers was number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number
That's what I
2 was Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Black Panther's number 3.
Okay.
Followed by Iron
Okay.
Man and Winter Soldier.
Hollywood Reporter loves this one.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is I mean it's swept in the Oscar. Like this
Yeah.
is the most
Yeah.
successful Oscar Marvel movie ever. Still. I mean,
Mhm.
we'll see how it goes this year with like Across the Spider-Verse with Across the Spider-Verse, but
totally. Oh,
we'll see.
pop that movie in.
Across the Spider-Verse better.
But
than a freaking
none of that matters.
No one cares about the internet score.
right.
They care about the 3 Tolkien white men sitting here right now.
Exactly.
What are you here
About to
for?
review this movie.
This is the 48th film. We're about
Yeah.
to place it in our ranking.
Uh-huh.
And I want to shoot this to Mr. Wentzloff first. What
So,
score are
We
you
saw
giving?
how it went when you led with me last.
Yes,
I
it
don't wanna
doesn't,
do
doesn't
that.
work out when you start with Micah. I really like this movie. I kind of opened with that. Killmonger's great. T'Challa's great. The world building of Wakanda is really solid. I think a lot of the kind of my complaints with Thor Ragnarok last week, like the CG elements of Asgard, kind of lean into Wakanda a bit for me. But I still think Wakanda's really fun. I think some of the tech, I'm not the biggest fan of. The Okoye beads are cool, but I think they're also like the cheapest plot advancement piece.
The very
Ever.
Deus Ex Machina coming
Like-
out of nowhere.
Like, oh, let me just call whatever Ross on
Let me
my
just
Okoye
stick
bead.
this in his spine.
Let me stick
and-
it in his spine. You know, they do everything. So that's one of the aspects I don't like. The suits, the costumes are really, really cool. I like that. The characters are fun. I think the first half is not as strong as the second half. Kind of meanders a bit. There are some, like the casino scene is really cool, and I like the claw stuff. But a lot of the beginning stuff isn't the most like. It's not why I rewatch this film. It's very much the second half with Killmonger and T'Challa.
Mhm.
And for that, I don't really have too many negatives. I think there's a lot to pull from this movie. I like the message. I like Killmonger's motivation, and specifically, like, I like T'Challa telling off his dad and being like, "You were wrong. I can change. We can be better. We can be different than what you were." I think what that means for legacy and people is really important. So for that, I'm gonna give this an 8. I like giving this an 8.
Okay.
Alrighty. An 8 from Ethan. Micah?
I'm pretty good on this movie too. I like it. I love the. I mean, I like Ethan. I feel they could have explained the tech more. They could have leaned into it more. They could have. I mean, that's Wakanda's whole thing, is that they are the most technically advanced nation that is hidden from plain sight. And I don't know. Just a couple more lines of explanation for those Okoye beads. A couple more just like out there sci-fi things would have been really cool to see. But the message, it really makes you think. It makes you, wonder, who. I mean, that Killmonger, his way of doing things is wrong. But is that going on in the real world? Is that something we should be paying attention to? Is there like, should we be paying attention to where arms are going to in the real world? And that's really a point that hits home to me. And knowing that there is still a sense of right when you are peace, when you are approaching things with love, and you're approaching things from T'Challa's perspective, where we want to protect what we've got. Because if you put it, Abe Lincoln put it best: house against itself will fall. Wakanda would have fallen if Killmonger
House
brought
divided against itself will not stand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what Killmonger was doing there. We got to stick together. We got to support each other, and we got to just give each other love where we can. And for this movie, I love it. I'm gonna give it where was I? An 8 point. I believe I wanted it at 8.6. No, 8.8.
Cool.
That's right.
Wow.
Same as Avengers.
8.
Really? Same as
Yes.
Avengers for you.
Remember, I wasn't as hot on Avengers as you guys were.
I mean,
but-
8.8 for Avengers is still really, really great
Yes.
for it. And this one. Yeah. I like it.
Okay. We've got an 8, an 8.8, Interesting. All right. I knew exactly where I wanted this movie right as I finished.
10.
10 out of 10. Let's go home. What's the average, Micah?
All right, we got a 8.9.
Definitely not. It definitely has issues. I want more out of this movie. Unfortunately, it does fall into the MCU for better and for worse. I think if this is a Black Panther movie made not confined to the MCU, I think this would be your T'Challa versus Michael B. Jordan film that is in there, but there needs to be those connections, and it's definitely not bad. It sets up an excellent continuation of the story for the inclusion of him in Infinity War. I think the performances are great. Most of the praises that these guys have had, I'm going to have them too. There is no shaking the fact that this is a pretty good movie. While I disagree with the amount of praise that the internet has given it and the Academy, I will say that there is some fantastic elements to this movie. So with that being said, I give this movie an 8.5.
8.5. All right. They really should just make a movie with Michael B. Jordan and you know, just having people duke it out. Just fighting. That'd be cool.
They already did that though.
Oh, they did? Oh, shoot.
Did it 3 times.
While I was saying that, I averaged it out. We are at an 8.43.
Ooh.
8.43. Pretty cool, guys. We ranked it pretty high there. Do you think that, or I do the do you think with the Hollywood Reporter? We have it. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you can't do it for this.
I've got Loki on my mind. we gotta get Loki going. All right, so Ethan, you gave it an 8. Ben, you gave it an 8.5. I gave it an 8.8. So it averaged out to an 8.43. Age of Ultron is also an 8.43.
Ooh.
Same thing, huh?
Same thing, yes.
This is better than Age of Ultron.
This is better than Age of Ultron?
Yeah.
All right.
So
Ethan,
hold on though. We can't just do it because of Ethan.
Ethan, you gave both an 8.
Yeah, I can change. I'll make my Infinity or my Black Panther score an 8.1 if that helps.
That does help.
Yeah. Unless Ben
8.1?
has a dispute.
Ben, are you gonna bring down your rating for an 8 point?
Oh no, I
4?
think this movie is actually better than Age of Ultron. Never mind.
Okay, cool. Now it is lined up with Iron Man 3, 8.47, 8.467. Isn't that
They're
crazy?
both the same.
They're both the same right now.
All right, so now I have to figure out which one's better.
Black Panther or Iron Man 3?
I'll go 8.2.
8.2?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we want this, well, what's our
I do
consensus?
think Black Panther is better
I do
than
too.
I agree.
Iron
I
Man
agree.
3.
Okay. So now we are at an 8.5. It's lined up with Doctor Strange.
Oh,
Guys, is it better or worse than Doctor Strange?
oh, this is a good question. Because I gave
I have
Doctor
them ranked the
Strange-
same.
I have them ranked the same, I think, as well. 8.5. What did
You
I
gave
give?
Doctor Strange an 8.
Oh, did I really?
What did I
Yeah.
give Strange?
You gave Strange an 8.7.
Ooh, really?
Yes.
That was fresh off it.
Yes.
I think a lot of the
But your 0.1 more isn't going to put it over Doctor Strange. It's just going to... Oh, it isn't going to put your score higher than Doctor Strange. It's just
it
gonna,
won't. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right.
No, this is better than Doctor Strange.
This is better than Doctor Strange.
Yeah, bump it up. You want to bump my?
We'll bump yours up
Go
another
8.3. It'll
8.3?
help my average.
Do you like it? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we're trying to get
It'll
Ethan's
help you.
average
I have the
up.
average lowest score.
All
out
right,
of
there
the
we
panel.
go. And in just mere minutes, we've bumped this up a good 4 places.
Amazing.
Into the top 10, kicking Doctor Strange out. Ooh,
Okay.
doggy.
I like this.
Black
This is
Panther is
our-
number 10.
Yeah. Okay. What's our top 10, Micah?
Top 10.
before Infinity War.
Let me just
Before
update the
Infinity
numbers
War,
real
that's
quick.
right.
Boom. All right, so number 1, we have, drumroll please, while I'm changing colors. Winter Soldier. I mean, it's been Winter Soldier for a while. Then Logan. Then Civil War at number 3. Avengers at number 4. Guardians 2 at number 5. Days of Future Past at 6. Spider-Man 2 at 7. Guardians 1 at 8. Iron Man at 9. And Black Panther at 10. So definitely not a bad movie.
Definitely not.
Definitely not a bad Stan Lee cameo.
Makes it in the
He
top
makes
10.
his money.
Yes, he does. I think I'll just hold on to that. Yeah, that's good stuff.
What was the other post-credit scene before we wrap up?
We have.
So there was Bucky
the
getting his
UN.
Oh my gosh.
The UN.
The UN scene. There's a great line that T'Challa gives. I always look for little nuggets, like goodies, a good saying from a movie, something I can take into life. And T'Challa gives a great line here. The wise build bridges while fools build barriers. And like, dude, that is a fantastic line, not just for this movie, and it works perfectly, but in life. You take that in life, man. You build bridges, don't build barriers. Come on. I mean, are you kidding me? That is a great deal of nugget. I have that in my wise sayings quote notes.
So
in my, I think that's a great line. And I think it's weird that it's an end credit scene. I think it would have been great as a last scene of the film, of them going out. I'm not sure why it was an end credit scene.
It works.
Yeah, but
I've been buying the building.
End credit scenes set up the future. Ooh, what's to come? This really fits as part of the film's narrative.
It does, yeah.
I think the best post-credit scenes set up the future. They get you anticipated for the next film.
Much like it's got something to do with Spider-Man.
Oh yeah,
See, I can't
the
wait for the
Morbius
follow-up
post credit
to
is
that.
the best.
Come
Morbius,
on.
yeah, come on.
Speaking of follow-ups, ladies and gentlemen, next week is none other than Avengers Infinity War.
Oh boy.
We made it.
Wow.
I speak for only myself here.
You
I
speak
am
for all of us, Ben.
so excited. No, we're gonna watch it when we end this, but just as a nice little nugget, take you back in time, search up Avengers Infinity War San Diego Comic-Con 2014 teaser. That'll take you back right there, because I was watching all the trailers for Infinity War. The hype that movie generated, it takes nothing away from this film.
That's our next movie.
But dude,
Infinity War.
It sure is.
Never thought that when we sat down to watch every single Marvel movie theatrically released that we would. We always dreamed about hitting Infinity War.
Movie 49.
But we're doing it, guys.
And I could not be more excited. It's a moment that we've been building to, and I'm not gonna set a time limit. I always try and get these done. I put the max at an hour and a half. I really try and get it done before then. Usually we're pretty good about it, but I don't think I'm gonna have a time limit, because there's
a lot.
101 things that I want to talk about when it comes to this movie and what it means.
All right, I guess.
To me,
it's okay.
It's okay.
as someone who grew up in the 2010s and grew up with this franchise.
It's our movie. Yeah.
It's our movie. It's our movie. So look forward to that next week. It is going to be a red letter day. I'm looking forward to it, just in anticipation. Like, I haven't seen it yet, but I've been waiting.
You've never seen Endgame or Infinity War.
Just
amazing.
I'm very excited just to watch it again. You know,
I was kind of doing the math, like, am I gonna have time to watch it twice this week? Because I want one for enjoyment, one for podcast.
Yeah,
you know, gotta just
Watch the 4K Blu-ray and then the IMAX Enhanced on Disney Plus.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So look forward to that next week. It's going to be Avengers Infinity War. Greatly anticipating that. We hope to see you there.
That'll be the podcast that gets us up over
1 million subscribers.
100%.
Subscribe.
100%.
You made it through this whole hour freaking video.
Yeah, right.
Hit subscribe.
Subscribe
right
now.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
This has been Rayside.
I'm Ethan Wensloff, and I am not dead.
I'm Micah Head.
And we all hope you have an absolutely fantastic day.